All right, guys, let's go ahead and get started. So hope everyone's having a great Monday. Again, we had a little chop in the market, but it is looking good so far. So if any of you guys are in the trenches, the Jim Hunter's trenches, we did call a leverage long on Bitcoin. That is looking great so far. Now, looking at the 24-hour liquidations, we have 186 million of liquidations, with longs having 100 million and shorts having 86 million. So really nothing out of the ordinary today. But nonetheless, it is good to see at least starting to see some life in the market. Now, looking at the liquidation heat map. So for this, some big thing, I want to point out here is we do have a lot of liquidations, just above this 84K level. So right around 84.3K, that's where you have a lot of liquidations. And then also looking at 85.2K. So actually, if we go ahead and refresh the page here, you can see an updated model with Bitcoin's current price. So you can see we already started to tag some of those liquidations at about the 84.3K. And after that, around 84.4K. So depending for anyone in the leverage long right now, if you want to start layering out profits, you can. I know the first take profit is around 85K. So watching for that level, and then around 85.9 afterwards. But there are a lot of liquidations to the downside here at about 82.9K. So it would not surprise me at all to see Bitcoin come back down to this level before eventually continuing higher. Again, the market makers like to take liquidity from both sides, from longs and shorts. So potentially, if we could come back down, this is the next level I would target. Now, looking at some news for today. So for anyone who doesn't know, there has been a big hyperliquid whale that has actually opened some large positions in Bitcoin and ETH. And a lot of people have been watching them. So you can see here that he had a $415 million short in Bitcoin, a 40x short, and his liquidation price is 86.1K. So there's been a lot of people, even including Justin Sun, who's been trying to liquidate this person. And so potentially, again, if Bitcoin's price gets close to this level, we could start to see a huge short squeeze, or we could see him even pile onto his shorts even more to increase that liquidation price. But nonetheless, it's very interesting to see, as well as having Ethereum, as well as having a $40 million position short on Ethereum at 25x, with that liquidation price being at 2,400. So Ethereum most likely won't get hit, but Bitcoin does have a high likelihood of getting hit. So interested to see if they know something, if it's an insider or just some whale playing games. I'm very curious to see what happens with that. I do know that, this account here, HODL15 Capital, has been following them, and they've actually increased their short position size about 430 million. But again, that liquidation price is still around that 86K level. So interested to see if that continues or if he eventually removes it. Now, looking at some more news, you do have the CME Group, which is the largest futures exchange. They actually just launched Solana futures. And so I know that whenever Bitcoin launched its futures, it was a little bearish because it gave institutions, again, more leverage as far as from the short side. So that could be something that, could create some downward pressure on Solana, but that remains to be seen, and we'll be interested to see how this unfolds. Next, we have Binance. So they recently announced zero-fee trading for all pairs in Binance Wallet from March 17th to September 17th. So this should create a lot of good volume for Binance and should also create some more participation for people who are looking to trade, as well as those who are looking to get involved in crypto. If you have zero-fee trading, then again, that's very, very bullish. Next, looking at the last week, we had the House and the Senate put forward something called the Bitcoin Act. So Senator Loomis, she's very bullish on a strategic Bitcoin reserve as well as crypto in general. So for her, she introduced that bill that the U.S. would acquire 1 million BTC over the next 5 years. And they're talking about with which funds, and then it says buried in the bill is the wording that you see below. So long story short, this talks about gold, and it talks about, tendering all outstanding gold certificates and their custody to the secretary. So mostly we could be talking about, potentially the United States getting away from gold, or at least diversifying from gold to Bitcoin with what we're seeing now, potentially even selling some of that gold. It'll be interesting to see what happens if, one, the U.S. has the gold reserves, and then if they actually start switching over more towards Bitcoin versus the physical gold. So curious to see what happens with that. But nonetheless, they have been filling in a lot of gold into the United States recently. So curious to see what happens with that. Also, we have Michael Saylor buying more Bitcoin. So recently he acquired 130 Bitcoin at an average price of 83K. So I believe it's around $10 million. And this is great to see as well, because it shows, again, whether Bitcoin's at its all-time high or all-time low, Saylor's going to continue to DCA in, and hopefully we can see him in profit even more as Bitcoin continues to rise. Also, we had Telegram. So Telegram founder Pavel Durov, he's returned to Dubai after months in France following his cybercrime investigation linked to the platform. So this is something great to see, because for the longest time, the Ton blockchain was weighed down by this negative news whenever Pavel was detained in France and not allowed to leave. And finally, with a change in the U.S. administration, now you have Trump in, you have more people starting to basically just put the hammer down on a lot of these countries that are very, I don't say communist, but socialist, and really, have these laws that are really against crypto. It's good to see, at least, hopefully that's having some influence to where you have Pavel being able to leave France and now again returning to Dubai. Could see some more positive price action in the Ton blockchain, but again, the team there is having a hard time being cohesive, working together. That's why I've seen Ton bleed so much, but at least they did have a nice 20% pump whenever this news did come out. So good to see another win for the good guys here. Now you also have BNY Mellon. It's the oldest bank. It's expanding services for Circle, which is allowing clients to send and receive funds for USDC transactions, which is boosting stablecoin adoption in traditional finance. So this is something that's great to see, because you're starting to see, people getting away from those, let's say, wire transfers where those take a week, 2 weeks. Now you have USDC, which if that gets integrated, then that could also help with that speed, help with security. The only thing I will say with banks accepting USDC is it could be just a bait and switch, where you have the banks eventually creating their own CBDC, so central bank digital currency, and then you have them switching over from USDC to that CBDC, and now you have more of a control mechanism versus what they have now, via being able to stop your funds or allowing how much you can spend per month, et cetera. So it's a very fine line with, yes, they are integrating with USDC, but at what cost, right? Where's that going to change in the future? So it's going to be interesting to see, and it's going to be see what happens again. Now, I am seeing some people with no audio, so go ahead and help them out in the chat, guys. If you can help them with what you did to help with your audio, if they need to change anything in their speaker settings, if they need to reset Telegram, if they need to restart their phone, whatever it may be, or if they need to just change the VPN that they're using, that could be it as well. All right, next news item. Brazilian lawmakers propose a bill to allow employers to pay salaries in Bitcoin, with at least 50% being paid in Brazilian real. So this is another good thing, where you have these countries now starting to adopt Bitcoin even more. And with Brazil kind of leading the way with paying salaries in Bitcoin, that could be very good if that bill is passed. And so, again, more of these countries will adopt Bitcoin as the U.S. leads the way, as more SBRs are created in other countries and nation states, which is another catalyst that I'm going to talk about as well on the list of catalysts that we have for this year. Next, we have Bitcoin and the global M2 money supply. So this is something I posted on my X account, and that everyone needs to pay attention to, because most people don't look at the relationship between the global M2 money supply and Bitcoin, but they are actually very, very correlated. And you can see here how correlated they are. And Bitcoin, it says Bitcoin lags the global M2 money supply by about 10 weeks. And so you're seeing the global money supply. This was March 12th. It's actually reached an all-time high recently. But you're seeing it, when it's reaching all-time highs and Bitcoin is still lagging, that shows you that it's only a matter of time now before Bitcoin catches up, which I believe we're starting to see now in the price. So which is another reason why I longed as well. But in my opinion, I do believe we are having some type of seasonality comparison to 2020, where you had Bitcoin. It was green in February or January, red in February and March, and then I believe it's going to be green in April and May. And so I believe that seasonality is going to play out. It may even, March may even turn green depending on the current market and what goes on in the macro environment, which we'll talk about in a minute. But I do believe that we're starting to see Bitcoin catch up to the M2, and eventually we will see it start to rise. I believe in April that will start, but it may start a little bit sooner depending on the overall macroeconomic environment. Now, also, we have Canary filing S1 for a SUI ETF. So now you've had a lot of different cryptocurrencies file for ETFs. You had SUI, Doge, XRP, Litecoin, I think maybe even Cardano, Polkadot, and then a couple others. And so this ETF news isn't having the same effect as it once had, unfortunately. You're not seeing huge pumps in the market because there is so many. There's such a saturation of ETF filings now that's almost lost its, bullish, or it's lost its momentum whenever those have been announced. Similar to whenever CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap lost their momentum once they started listing a lot of coins. So that's the only thing I have to say about that. I do believe, though, that still, once these ETFs do get approved, it'll still create some type of pump for that token. But, in the grand scheme of things, it's just another ETF that's being filed. And then next, I talked about catalysts that I was posting. So this is on my X account that I posted. And I said, most people think the bullish catalysts are over after the SBR news, but we still have a lot to look forward to, like the end of quantitative tightening. So which people believe that could be in the summer or even sooner. Start of quantitative easing, i.e. the money printer, which this could also be kicked off if we have a rate cut. So interest rate cut, which FOMC is coming up in 2 days. Don't think it's going to happen then, but may happen in April. So another thing to look forward to. Also, an end of the Russia-Ukraine war. I'll cover more about this in a minute. An end and pause on tariffs, which is something great to see if that happens. But this is probably later down the line. And again, I'll mention why in a minute. 0% capital gains tax eventually for US-based cryptocurrencies. This is something that's been rumored, especially Trump's been talking about it a couple weeks back. The government laying out a plan to buy Bitcoin. So this could be something as well where you have that budget neutral strategy that the government was talking about, the US government, for buying more Bitcoin for their SBR. So keep an eye on that. Then also other countries and nation states buying Bitcoin and or starting their own SBR. So we still have a lot of catalysts, right? Even though the SBR has been created, it's still, the government still has to actually buy the Bitcoin if they are going to implement that budget neutral strategy, as well as other countries and other macroeconomic factors that could be a catalyst of their own. So still a lot of room to run, guys. So I believe the second bull run is just getting started, and we're going to see that over the next few months. Now, let's go ahead and cover some macroeconomic news. So some FUD that was announced a couple days ago was Trump announcing that the U.S. military has launched large airstrikes on Yemen Houthis and threatened hell will rain down upon you like nothing you've ever seen before. And so this was something that the Houthis did threaten the U.S., saying that they're attacking the U.S. warships, and in kind, U.S. retaliated. And so I think that it is great to see that, at least Trump's going to take care of the Houthis in Yemen, which, again, this whole interaction shouldn't be a long time. I mean, there's not really much to do here besides a few airstrikes, knock down some of their systems, and then from there, it should be pretty much done. So this isn't like a Russia-Ukraine war type of thing. This is a very quick war, and it should be ended very soon. Now, let's actually go over the Russia news I was talking about. So for the Russia ceasefire. So we had right now Putin-Trump call is set for Tuesday over ceasefire talks. So this is something that's going to be good to see. Is on Tuesday, we should start to see some type of resolution, some type of further progress in these ceasefire talks. Ukraine's already on board. Now it's just getting Russia to be on board. They listed some of their, priorities that they would like to see done. And we're going to have to see if Trump can negotiate and bring both countries to the table, where hopefully a ceasefire could happen over the next few weeks. So again, that'll be another catalyst. Maybe people are front running that as well. We're seeing that in the market, but yeah, something good to see. Also, we have the economic data last week. So last week, just giving a quick TLDR, the CPI inflation numbers were actually better than expected, which is good to see. And then we had PPI numbers and unemployment numbers actually show lower than expected. So they underperformed, which I believe people are looking at this as a better chance of further interest rate cuts, because again, the economy is weaker than expected. So I think that, like I said, I don't think we're going to have an interest rate cut in March in the next 2 days, but I do think in April it could potentially, because of this, we could have interest rate cut then. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Fed announces and what their forecast is, if it's dovish or if it's hawkish, dovish being bullish, hawkish being bearish. So going to be watching that very, very closely. Also, we have Bank of Japan. They are set to raise rates to 0.75% in Q3. Well, they hold steady, but they remain hawkish next week. Most likely hike seen in April or July as Reuters poll. And so Bank of Japan, for those who don't know, whenever they initially raised their interest rates, they caused a carry trade unwinding, which basically, just quick history lesson. People used to borrow from the Bank of Japan, get loans, interest-free loans, and then they would buy treasury bonds. So they'd basically be earning the spread on that yield. And literally it was free money. But then and basically people were over-leveraged on this. So they're massive leverage whenever they were doing this. And then the Bank of Japan originally raised their interest rates to 0.25% last year when we saw that huge crash. And from then, you had the carry trade unwinding, people selling their assets to repay back what they borrowed, and basically just caused a huge unwinding in the market, huge liquidity flush, And from then we started to see, this being somewhat of an issue, but now people are de-risking. So these interest rate rises shouldn't have as much of an effect, but nonetheless, as that gap closes between the treasury yields and the interest rates, I think that we could start to see more of a carry trade unwinding, but just a muted effect than what we saw the first time around. So just keeping an eye on that. And then also speaking of tariffs, like I said, I'd follow back. So Trump says he will impose both reciprocal tariffs and additional sectoral tariffs on April 2nd. So keep an eye on this date, guys. People could be front running this. Potentially, we could start to see some bearish price action as this date gets closer. But really, I think that this news is already getting priced in. And we're starting to see that eventually, people are, I think people are done with these tariff wars, and they're already starting to price in all these cuts and all these extra tariffs that, again, it's just going to be one of those things where you say China bans Bitcoin, right? It had a muted effect after a while in 2017, 2018. So I think that these tariffs could be something similar. People are already pricing them in. People know when they're going to happen. Now the FUD ends up creating its own catalyst whenever the tariffs get cut or they stop. So it's kind of turning into an own catalyst of its own. So keep an eye on that. So let's see. Just seeing anyone can hear audio. Okay. Yeah, G7 Crypto says I only have audio on desktop. So maybe telling people to switch over to desktop, that could be something. Also, it says make sure to ensure your audio output is selected correctly. And if needed, use a VPN if sound doesn't work. This will be recorded and will be available after the live stream ends. So something else here, let me go ahead and show you guys real quick. For Litter was saying, yeah, make sure that you guys are ensuring your audio output is selected correctly. Sound doesn't work. So hopefully people can see this and you restart Telegram. But yeah, we're recording this right now, guys. So you'll be able to see this if you don't hear it right now. So let's go over some macroeconomic charts here. So we have the S&P 500 had a nice bounce. It's at 56.92, had a great bounce off of our support level here. We have the RSI curving back to the upside on the weekly. So great to see on that front. Expecting the S&P to rise. Looking for the next resistance at 58.70. Next, looking at gold. Gold has been up only. It has been one of the strongest assets this year. And you can see the RSI is still curving to the upside because gold is a hedge against inflation. It's a hedge against uncertainty, which in the market right now between tariffs, Russia-Ukraine war, thing going on in Yemen, etc., there's a lot of uncertainty in the market. And so people are buying gold, understandably. But one thing to keep in mind is potentially we may have a bearish divergence if we have a lower high on the RSI and then a higher high on price. So if that happens, potentially you see gold bleeding, and then you'll see, normal stocks start to rise as well as crypto start to rise even further. So something great to see there, and I'm keeping an eye on for that. Then also you have oil futures holding the support near 67 level. Again, as long as it bounces between 67 and 80, nothing too bearish there. I think oil is a good indication. If it rises, you have an increase in transportation costs, higher likelihood of inflation rising. But as long as it stays within this range, I don't think we should see anything crazy happening. Now, also, I remember from my last stream, someone was asking about DXY. And so I started tracking this a little bit more. And you can see it's still in a downtrend, very bullish for us because usually stocks in the DXY have an inverse correlation, especially with crypto. And so if we see DXY continue to bleed, then I can see that stocks and crypto will continue to rise. So great to see. We could even see the monthly chart actually on DXY. I'll go ahead and change that real quick. But you can see the monthly chart, how that is actually looking very, very bullish as well. As far as, it's bearish, meaning bullish for stocks and crypto. So if we can get this monthly close below this 104 level and below the signal line, very, very bullish. So we have another, call it 2 weeks for this to happen. But yeah, keep an eye on this, guys. This could be very, very bullish for crypto and stocks. Now, let's go ahead and look at ETFs. So for Bitcoin ETFs, we have, really they haven't been doing too much per se. Bitcoin ETFs haven't been outperforming or underperforming. Today, expecting this to be low as well, just like March 14th. Potentially could be in, 100 million, 200 million of inflows, just seeing the market and seeing Bitcoin's price action right now. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. But yeah, Friday was pretty lackluster, only 32 million. So again, just something good to see there. Then looking at Ethereum ETFs. So Ethereum ETFs is one to keep in mind because it's been having 8 days of outflows. It's been underperforming like crazy. I do still think Ethereum could start outperforming Bitcoin by the end of this month. But as it is now, it's been very much underperforming. And we'll talk about the chart as well in a minute and what levels I am looking at to see that outperformance come to fruition. So keep an eye on that. Next, let's go ahead and look at some charts. So looking here on BloFin, again, if you guys aren't using BloFin, you should be. One of the best non-KYC leverage trading exchanges. We actually called this Bitcoin long at 82.5K to 83.3K, so playing out so far. But yeah, a couple of reasons I called this long is because the RSI was bouncing off of the signal line here. And so you can see here the RSI bouncing nicely off the signal line on the daily, as well as we had the support near 82.5K. So that lined up, as well as just the overall market and what I was talking about earlier, where you have people front running that macro news of Russia-Ukraine ceasefire, as well as in general looking at that hyperliquid short. There's a lot of people trying to liquidate him, and so that could cause even a further rise to that 85K to 86K level. So watching that closely, the next big resistance is going to be about 85.9K. But again, we do have a sell signal at 85K, so I'm waiting for this sell signal to hit. But yeah, so far the RSI is looking very, very good. Actually, a lot of charts do look like this, so make sure you guys are checking those out. Now let's go ahead and look at Ethereum. So for Ethereum, you can see it's still below this 60-day EMA. It has been acting as resistance for it. So at the very least, I mean, this is way up here at 2,600. So I'm waiting for that. But you can see that there is some support near this 1830 level. And so this 1830 level should hold. Now the RSI, like I mentioned, a lot of RSIs look similar right now, where the daily is actually crossing to the upside over that signal line. So this is something good you want to see, is anytime you have, the daily RSI crossing to the upside from being oversold, usually that means momentum is changing. And so with Ethereum right now, what I would be looking at is that next big resistance, it's going to be at this 1950 level, because it has been in this small range here. So if Ethereum can close above 1950, the next big level I would look at, obviously you have 2000, but really I would look at 2150 next. 2150 is going to be your next big resistance after 1950 close. And it does look like Ethereum does have some room to run, especially if we see relief in the market and seeing the stock market's outperformance today. It could be good. But again, I wouldn't be longing Ethereum right now. I'd wait for a break and close above 1950, retest as support, and then I would be buying it on that retest. So that's something I'll be watching. Let's go over and look at Solana. So Solana is also, excuse me, one that's looking pretty good because it is making a higher low. That's what you want to look for whenever you have, looking at technical analysis and looking at overall trends. You want to see these higher lows form because that signals a shift in the trend from the lower lows that we had and could signal that bullish momentum forming. And so with Solana, again, same thing as Bitcoin. You had a cross above the signal line on the RSI and then a retest as support. So that's exactly what you want to see. As far as resistance, 136 is the next major resistance for Solana. So it had a nice bounce around this between 113 and 117 level. And so far, again, it's just been making higher lows. And so we had 122, 125. But if you're looking for major support for Solana, 118 is going to be a good level to buy if you're looking to buy in a pullback. But if you want to front run that a little bit, then potentially 123 would be a good support. But yeah, as long as this higher low keeps continuing, then I'm expecting Solana to reach 136 here, especially looking at this RSI on the daily. So good point, some good TA for Solana there. And then next, let's go ahead and look at XRP, because I know it's another chart that people have been watching. So for XRP, it's flirting with its 60-day EMA as well. And this is around 265. And I do still think there's a good chance we could reach that. And here's another reason why. Is because if you look at the RSI for XRP, same thing. On the daily RSI, it's bouncing on that signal line. Don't you see a lot of these charts are looking very, very similar? And so this is something I want to point out because when this happens, if everyone's looking at the same thing, it's going to happen. You see what I'm saying? So if all these charts look similar and everyone who's trading their certain altcoins are looking at this, people are going to buy here. And so you really have a rise in the overall market. And I do think that's why we could see some relief. The next resistance would be around this 260, 265 level, which also coincides with the 60-day moving average. And so, yeah, that'd be the next level I'll be watching. So if you want to take a chance, you could buy here and then set your take profit for 260. and then set your stop loss potentially for, I mean, hard to say. You could say 223 if you want to be a little aggressive with the stop loss. But yeah, anything near $2 for a buy, I think it's a buy on XRP. It's been major support. So keep an eye on that as well. But yeah, the RSI is looking very good. Then lastly, let's go ahead and look at AVAX, and then we'll look at upcoming events. And we'll look actually one more chart after this. So I want to show you all something on Total 3. But AVAX right now does start to look like it may want to start a new bullish uptrend, because the RSI, again, same thing. It's bouncing off the signal line on the daily. I mean, you can see now why all these charts look similar and why I'm getting bullish. It's because all these charts are looking good, and it looks like we could have some relief in the market this week, pending any negative news, okay? So, but right now, AVAX is looking pretty good. $18 looks to be holding right now. Could see potentially, a higher low if you want to identify this or classify this as a higher low. But what I would caution people of is there is still major resistance at $20. And so I would just be cautious of that. Same thing like on Ethereum, how it's at its 1950 resistance. $20 is big resistance on AVAX. So if you want to wait until we have a break above, retest of support, and then buy on this retest at 20, that could be another play there as well for AVAX. So just depends how risk averse you are. Now I said I want to do one more chart. Let's go over the Total 3 chart. So that's something that I've been watching, and I believe a lot of people actually may be sleeping on. And so let's go ahead and pull up Total 3. This is on TradingView. And so BloFin doesn't have Total 3, obviously. But yeah, Total 3, for anyone who doesn't know, it is the total market cap of cryptocurrencies minus or excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. So it's basically kind of like measuring altcoin strength. And so just looking here, we closed the Total 3 chart above the previous resistance that we had last year in April. And so last year in April, we had this 776 billion resistance. And now you can see the weekly actually closed above it. So now I believe we're going to see some relief in altcoins. And it's very, very bullish in my opinion. You also have the stock RSI oversold on the weekly, which means we could see a few weeks of upside, as well as the RSI starting to curve to the upside as well. So that's why I believe we could start to see some relief in the market. Not many people are looking at Total 3, and it's a good measurement for overall alt strength, as well as when you combine it with these support resistance levels and these breaks and close above, it could signal a shift in the trend and now potentially a shift towards more bullish upside. So that's another thing I'm watching, which also ties into, again, the long I made on Bitcoin and just the overall market in general. Now let's go ahead and look at upcoming events. So we do have Token 2049 in Dubai. I should be going to this, so hopefully I'll see you guys there. It is the 30th of April to the 1st of May. So this is one of the biggest events in crypto. You have Token 2049 in Dubai, and then in Singapore, I believe in September or October. And so definitely should be a big event. Again, they have Happy Bird tickets. Definitely join it if you can. Then also we have the Fed FOMC meeting, March 19th. So this is going to be big because this is going to tell, one, if the Fed's going to cut interest rates or not, which I doubt they are this close into it. But I do think April could be where we cut interest rates next. So it's really going to depend on the Fed's forecast, if they're dovish or if they're hawkish. And so if they're dovish, i.e. bullish, that means that potentially they could say, oh, we're going to add one extra interest rate cut we're expecting this year. So for example, I think now they're only projecting one interest rate cut, but if they upped that to 2 or 3, very, very bullish for the market. But if they say we're just keeping interest rate cuts as one expected, then I imagine we'll see a drop in the market. So it really depends on the Fed's forecast and what Jerome Powell says. So keep an eye on that. But with that, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the chat under the live stream announcement, and I will answer them accordingly. We got about 20 to 30 minutes left. So I'll go from the top and answer those questions accordingly. Let's see. Yeah. YB says, I'm paper trading crypto on TradingView. Is this a good way for practice? Yes. So I would say YB here. Let me show you YB instead. Paper trade on BloFin. So for BloFin, all you have to do is hover over futures and then click demo trading. And then basically it'll look like this, except it'll have a fund balance of like 50,000 USDT. And then you can just paper trade with that. You can do cross margin, isolated margin. Again, I recommend isolated margin for those who are trying to trade leverage because it's just so much easier to track. And you're only risking the balance that you put in a trade. You're not risking your whole wallet balance like you would be with cross margin. So, but yeah, hover over futures, click on demo trading, and you can actually trade there, and it's much easier versus using TradingView. Let's see. Manmeat says, can someone let me know if there's no sound? Oh, yeah. So, yeah, a lot of people are still having sound issues. We'll get to this fixed in the future for anyone who's having those issues, maybe changing our streaming platform instead of Telegram. But, yeah, just stay tuned for that. Let's see. Just looking at a few others. Keneal says, I think crypto really moves upward in the second half of 2025. Yeah, I do think we're going to see some relief in April and May. I do still think that it's going to be pretty good. But yeah, definitely Q4. I think we're going to top out in there. And yes, this will be recorded, guys. This is being recorded, and we'll post the live stream as well. So no worries if for the people that can't hear, you'll get that recording. Hobbier says, your thoughts on Duel, Game GPT, and WorkX. Yeah, let's go ahead and check that out. Let's see. So Duel, I'm not sure if it's on BNB or which one it's on. Just looking at this Duel token, though. I doubt this is it. But yeah, this one, no, it's just been bleeding too much. I would not even touch this. And then WorkX. Pull that up. Okay, not finding that either. Yeah, sorry, Hubber, not finding those. Let's see. Yeah, Kay says join on computer if it doesn't work on your phone. Let's see. Hyper says ETH is starting to outperform, first signs. Yeah, let's actually, while we're doing that, let's go and look at ETH BTC. So ETH BTC is another chart that you can see the RSI is oversold on the weekly. And so this is something I'm watching is, I mean, Ethereum has been underperforming Bitcoin for the past 2.5 years. And there's this trend line here. It keeps rejecting off of this, is something I'm watching as well. But yeah, it's, I mean, if it gets to this 0.02 level, it'd be a very big bounce. Potentially it could bottom here, which was the wick that we had back in, December of 2020. And so maybe this is where we bottom. But yeah, I mean, the weekly RSI does look good and has bounced in the past whenever it's gotten this level. So potentially we could see alts outperforming and ETH outperforming soon. So yeah, something to keep in mind. Let's see. We'll just make sure we have the Bitcoin chart up. Okay. Dexter says, hello, G, give us some beginner tips. TQQ, Luke and Bro for everything. Okay, so beginner tips, Dexter. So one of the first things is on BloFin, use the demo trading feature. Because if you're leverage trading, like basically leverage trades are posted in the Gem Hunters Trenches channel, the Telegram. So make sure you guys join that. It should be pinned at the top in the Gem Hunters Telegram group. But when you join BloFin, make sure you're using the demo trading first for leverage trading so you understand how it works, right? That'd be my first thing. My second thing would be learn support and resistance. Learn how to draw support and resistance levels. You can just search on YouTube. It'll show you how to draw support resistance lines. But learn the basics of technical analysis, because that'll help you buy at these major support levels and sell at these major resistance levels. And so that'll be my biggest thing, as well as following legitimate accounts on X and YouTube, people that actually teach, and just, ask people what they recommend for reputable accounts, because there's a lot of scammers out there in crypto. So make sure you guys are following those reputable accounts. Being in Gem Hunters is a good start, because here you get a lot of good content. You get info from a lot of experienced people. And so Gem Hunters is really good. And so in addition to that, if you can find some reputable accounts on X and YouTube, that's going to actually help you progress in your crypto journey if you get information from good sources. So all that would be my my biggest recommendation. Learn technical analysis, learn support resistance, start with demo trading on BloFin, and then also follow reputable accounts, and continue to learn from Gem Hunters is my biggest advice. Mixolus says, what do you think of day trading crypto using TA? Excuse me. And how exactly, for example, I'm long now on Solana. And so, yeah, I think day trading is good, but again, it's very risky, especially when the market's choppy, because there's not a lot of room for profit, right? You need to trade higher leverage if you want to catch, some small moves and get some profit from that. And so I would say, yeah, for using TA, it's very good. So for example, like if you're using the 15-minute, right? If you're using the 15-minute and you can say, oh, hey, okay, good. We're crossing above this 60-day moving average, or this, 60 MA, and we're bouncing off of it on the 15-minute. We're regaining this, bullish momentum. Or if you want to trade on the hourly chart, this 60 moving average was acting as resistance, and then we crossed above it. So now it should act as support at 83.6K. So that's just more reason to look at these lower time frames if you're day trading, and why it pays. You can't even write this any better. Like, look at this 60-day moving average on the hourly chart. It's resistance. Then it acts as support. Then it acts as resistance, and then it acts as resistance again, and then finally, hopefully, support, right? So this is why it pays. If you're day trading, incorporate moving averages, incorporate oscillators like the RSI when it's oversold, like it was here. Good long opportunity at 82.4K. And then you would have caught this huge long, right? And so this is something good to watch, because, if you can catch these good long opportunities, which, this was, unfortunately, we didn't catch this yesterday, because it would have been a good wick up to this 85K level. But that's why I'm looking at this as a first take profit here. So Bitcoin is performing very, very nicely so far, guys. Our longs are printing right now. Again, join Jim Hunter's Trenches. That's where he posted this long. I posted it around here, 82.5 to 83K. It would have been a nice profit. Okay. Nick says, do you constantly look at CoinGlass before taking trades? No, I don't, Nick. So CoinGlass is it's just another, you could say, scan that I do of the market. But for making trades, it's kind of fundamental and a technical approach. So I'm looking at TA. I'm looking at major support levels, like on the daily, on the weekly. I'm looking at oscillators like the RSI, stochastic RSI, moving averages. I'm looking at sentiment. So I do look at the fear and greed index. And so for anyone who doesn't know what that is, it measures the current sentiment in the market and how fearful or greedy people are. So like the famous Warren Buffett quote, you buy when others are fearful, you sell when they're greedy. So I like to look at this, just kind of get an overview in the market. And it's also, this is something I post an update for in the actual Jim Hunter's premium group. So in my market update, it's very extensive. And I also cover the fear and greed index as well as technical analysis in the premium group. So again, when you join that, that's just another benefit you have. But yeah, to answer your question, it's a part of it, but it's not the main part. The main part is fundamentals, macro wise, what's going on in the economy. So like the Russia-Ukraine war, the tariffs, interest rates, all that stuff, because Bitcoin's price is dictated by monetary policy. And so if you have, a further interest rate cut in the future, then that would be bullish for the economy, right? And bullish for Bitcoin and crypto. And so that's stuff I look at, as well as TA. So yeah, CoinGlass stuff is just a small part of it. Mainly the fear and greed index would be what I'd be looking at. But yeah, if we have like a big liquidation event, then I'd be looking at the 24-hour liquidations. And if we get over $1 billion, then I can say, okay, potentially we're going to have a local bottom within the next few days. That would be actually a big part. So so I'll just scan it, but it's not going to be my end all be all as far as what I'll make a trade on. Andy XX and SX says, what about Ondo? So let's go and look at Ondo. Okay, so Ondo right now is below its 60 MA, which that's about 120. So let's go ahead and chart this real quick. And so it is in a little range right now. And so, yeah, Ondo, let me go ahead and X this out so we see. So Ondo is between 76 cents and 89 cents, this little range. So what I would say is wait for a close above, I'll say close above 90, 91 cents. And at that point, you can look to buy. So potentially have a close, retest, and then buy right there, around this 90-cent level. Because you don't want to buy at resistance, right? You either want to buy at support, which if you want to be a little more aggressive with it, buy around 80 cents. Could be a good support for Ondo. And then DCA at 76 cents if it goes a little lower. But you can see here in the past, it's acted as resistance around the 76 cent level. Now it's acted as support. Same thing here. Support at around 80 cents. And then support again after it broke above and retested it. So yeah, some good levels I would look for. But yeah, I wouldn't buy here. I'd be buying at 80 cents or retest and break above and retest as support at 90. Marco says, what do you think about Cardano? I've opened a long position and set my TP at 75 cents. Let's go ahead and check Cardano. All right, so Cardano isn't too bad. Cardano is a US-based cryptocurrency. And so if Trump announces 0% capital gains tax on US-based cryptocurrencies, it could gain a lot of momentum. Like that's what we had back in the day. Whenever we had, this huge run-up on Cardano, I think it was in the beginning of, let's see, was it this early? No, it was around here. And toward the beginning of the year, we had huge pumps because, whenever Trump was announcing that potential that Cardano would have, take a part of that 0% capital gains tax, we had a huge run. Since then, I would say it's not bad. Again, still below its 60 MA. If you're looking to buy, I would wait at the very least until 70 cents. I mean, the very least. But even better is going to be DCAing at 66 and 62 cents. These would be the levels I would watch. So, yeah, I would look at a DCA approach here just because it's so close to 70 cents. I don't know if I would buy it here. I'd probably wait till 66 if you can get it there. And if not, no, you can't. But at the end of the day, it's just, buying at the best support levels and providing the best risk reward. Now, the 60 MA is actually getting close to being crossed over, 74 cents. So if it can cross over, retested as support could be for a bullish momentum continuation. So watching that as well. But yeah, Cardano doesn't look too bad. See, Shax Rior says, when I will be accepted to Capital Club. And so Capital Club, I mean, I can't speak for Luke on that point, but I do know that there is a wait list for Capital Club, and he does, allow people to get in at certain intervals, whether it's quarterly or every 6 months or yearly, whatever it is. So just be patient, and I'm sure he'll let you in soon, or he'll announce when it's opening up again. Hellcat says, anything on Jupe? Let's go ahead and check out Jupe. So Jupe is actually looking pretty good on the 4-hour. It's starting to cross over the 60 MA, which does tentatively look good. But let's go ahead and look at the daily because it has been bleeding for a while. And it did bounce off of that 47 cent level. But, I mean, you can see if you zoom out, it's been, ever since, April of last year, it hasn't been able to break this all-time high. And it's just been bleeding and in a downtrend since really, call it December of last year, it's been in a downtrend. And so what I want to see is at the very least, I want to see a break above 54 cents. I'd be watching that. And then at that point, I would start to target 67 cents. So that's when we'd be getting a little bit more bullish. You could say there's even some resistance at around 57. So this little support turn resistance here. But yeah, at the end of the day, it needs to start regaining some of these resistance levels because it just has not been performing well. So we can look at the RSI. The RSI is starting to cross over the signal line, which is a bullish indication here. So yeah, it does look tentatively good. It looks like we could be reversing. We do have a higher low. Well, actually, no, because it had it here and then went back down. So not necessarily a higher low per se. If you want to look at it from, this perspective, higher low this way, maybe. And if it continues, that could be a good sign as well. But yeah, I would just say wait until you have a close above 54 cents and then maybe look at betting at 54 once it breaks and retested as support. So, but the RSI does look good. Let's see, SDIF. Yeah, so for AI coins, basically for AI coins, that is, AI coins have been good. The narrative is a good narrative. AI coins pump a lot whenever the narrative comes around. I still believe we're going to have around 3 for AI coins. But until then I would just say be cautious because, again, it's very cyclical. They have phases. And so right now, AI coins aren't gaining too much traction. But we just need a couple catalysts in the market to really revamp the AI narrative. And so I think eventually it'll happen. It's just a matter of when. So right now, you just want to look at other altcoins with strength and bet on those at major support levels. Let's see. Nebula says thoughts on Tau and MPC. Yeah, let's go ahead and pull up Tau. Again, guys, all these pairs are available on BloFin. When you trade for leverage, it's non-KYC. So make sure you guys are trading here. A lot easier. Tau's looking good too. Heck, looking at the RSI, bouncing off the signal line. Like a lot of these altcoins are looking similar. Like this is crazy. A lot of these are. So that's why I'm, again, very bullish. I think we could have a run in the market. I think definitely could have a run and definitely think that there's going to be some good bullish momentum. for the next few days. So yeah, so Tau looking like it's making a higher high or higher low, I should say. Bouncing nicely off of 220. It looks like 234 is the next support here. And then after that, resistance is going to be, I mean, right now it's at resistance. You know, if it can break and close above 260, very bullish. And the next big resistance I would look at, let me just zoom out here a little bit. Yeah, 284. That's the next one after 260. So I wouldn't be buying here at 260 just because it's right at resistance. If you want to wait, if it breaks above and then retest it as support, 257, and look to take profit at 284. That could be a good trade as well. So that's on Tau. Let's look at MPC. Let me see. Okay, yeah. So BloFin has MPC. We're changing from spot to futures. That's why the screen needs to load. Ooh, MPC looks really bad. I am nuts. Okay, yeah. I think the chart is, let's see. Okay, yeah, this is MPCS. Let's just pull it up on Dex Screener. Assuming it's MPC, is it on Solana? Or, no, it can't be on Solana. I think it's probably on Ethereum. Yeah. MPC is not looking the best, to be honest. Yeah. No, I wouldn't touch it, honestly. Like, I don't even want to chart this. Maybe support at 55 mil. Resistance at 100. But yeah, I wouldn't even touch MPC, honestly. Let's go back, get Bitcoin on here. Okay. M says, do you use fundamental analysis for shorter term day trades, or is it disregarded? So not yes and no, but not really. For example, you know, if let's just say if the Russia-Ukraine war, if, you know, ceasefire is going to happen in the next week or two, then yeah, you know, I'll consider that. And then, okay, if there's some bullish catalyst out in the future, then yeah, I'll consider that and say, okay, I'll look for buying coins at major support levels, right? I think that's something that definitely should be watched. So that's something I look at. But other than that, I'm not really looking at fundamentals like day to day and trading short term off of those, because the truth is, by the time you see fundamentals in the news, it's already too late. And so that's what I would recommend for anyone that's trading these fundamentals. Is there's more of a long-term trade and like swing trades versus, you know, something that you buy right away. Now, to caveat that, if there is positive, like, you know, for example, let's say Trump's going to cut interest rates or he's 0% capital gains tax on US-based cryptocurrencies. At that point, yeah, you know, you're going to buy right away, right? But besides that, any huge catalyst events, usually those things are like buy the rumor, sell the news. And so that's what I would say on that. And I will say this Bitcoin chart's loading right now. Let's see. Monkey Money says, what are small cap crypto projects that you are currently following? So small cap crypto projects, not really small cap ones. I mean, the ones that I'm invested in, I'm in Nillion. So I posted about, yeah. So I'm in Nillion. It's going to have a TGE soon. Token generate. It's going to launch soon. So that's one I'm in. Again, it's not a small cap. And also Exhibits. Exhibits is one where I posted, yeah, Exhibits, Zero Gravity. Like from these posts, like these are all tokens that I invested in and should do fairly well. They're AI DPIN coins. And so, yeah. But yeah, as far as small caps, not really many at the moment, to be honest. Okay. Let me go ahead and pull back up that those catalysts so you guys can see. Okay. Raphael says, what are your thoughts on AVAX and gaming coins in general? Yeah, so I went over AVAX earlier on BloFin. It's a chart. Let's see if it loads. It's just my laptop. I have, 100 windows open. But as far as AVAX, AVAX is okay. I mean, the chart's pretty good. The RSI is nice, right? It's bouncing up signal line. So yeah, really watch for $20. If it can close above 20, I'd look to buy there at support. And then gaming coins, I'm just waiting for GTA 6 to launch, honestly. Like Grand Theft Auto 6, when that thing launches and if they have in-game cryptocurrency, it's going to create an insane hype cycle for gaming. Like you're going to see every gaming coin pump. So that's something I'm watching closely. But yeah, until then, AVAX needs to break and hold above 20. Daniel says, let's see, good news. Don't have a planned VPN yet. Okay. Johans, what king of indicators do you recommend for a beginner trader? Few and simple indicators. Johans, just keep it simple. The RSI, Relative Strength Index, stochastic RSI, and then the 200-day moving average. So exponential moving average. So EMA, link 200, 200-day EMA, and then the RSI and stochastic RSI. That's really all you need. Mert says, thoughts on Bitcoin dominance and USDT dominance. So USDT dominance, I had that pulled up here. USDT dominance is looking good from a bearish perspective. So it looks like it still has more room to the downside, which is bullish for Bitcoin and altcoins. Whenever dominance is declining in USDT, it means people are getting out of USDT dominance or getting out of USDT and investing into Bitcoin and altcoins. Now, with that said, USDT is getting discontinued. It's getting delisted on a lot of exchanges in Europe. And so I think we need to add USDT plus USDC. So yeah, you can see here even better. So the weekly for stablecoin dominance is bearish right now, rejected nicely off of this resistance and curving to the downside. So great to see on that front. Beautiful RSI rejection here. Beautiful. So continued further downside in my opinion. So that's looking very good. And yeah, I think we're looking good for a few more days for crypto. I think there's gonna be some nice green price action. And then you asked about Bitcoin dominance. I'll go ahead and pull that up real quick. Let's see. Did I have it up here? Okay, I need to pull it actually on the Bitcoin chart because that's where I had it. Bitcoin's looking beautiful, guys. 84.5K. Hopefully you guys are enjoying those long that we posted in Jim Hunter's trenches. All right, here we go. Yeah, so Bitcoin dominance, again, for anyone who doesn't know, Bitcoin dominance is just the market cap of Bitcoin over the entire market cap of crypto. Anytime we've had Bitcoin dominance reject, we've had ETH outperform, we've had a crazy run in altcoins. And so really, people are waiting for Bitcoin dominance to reject to have alt season. That's what everyone's waiting on, right? So you can see every time it's rejected, ETH rose 7% versus over the next month. It was 130% versus Bitcoin over the next year, right? So we want to see these rejections. When it's pumping, usually the rest of the market is bleeding. And so something interesting I'm watching right now is it is coming up towards this resistance level here of 62.8%. We rejected off of it. You could even say, I mean, this is a little stretch here, but you could even say we're having a bearish divergence on the RSI on the weekly. So Bitcoin dominance making a higher high, while RSI is making a lower high. And then the stock RSI is also getting overbought, right? And so those are some good bearish indications for Bitcoin dominance, which could lead alts to rally. So yeah, it's possible. If we go to the daily chart, this looks good. RSI rejected off the signal line. Stock RSI is curving down. Yeah, so daily looks pretty good as well. So yeah, it looks good for alt pump. Wes says, quick Solana recap for people who just joined. Yeah, West, quick Solana recap is still bullish on Solana. Next resistance is 136. And then support, if you want to be aggressive, is 123. Major support on Solana, it's around 118, 115 to 118. Gabriel, realistically, what's the starting minimum budget we're looking at as a beginner to see some actual profits? So honestly, as a beginner, I mean, you could realistically start with $100, right? Like $100, you don't need much more than that, especially if you're trading on leverage, because we post leverage in the Jim Hunter's Trenches channel, and even 3 to 5x leverage, you can still slowly increase your balance. And so, yeah, I think $100 is a good starting capital, and that's still enough to compound and still enough to grow. Any less than that, it's still possible. You just maybe have to take some more risks, maybe trade higher leverage, or maybe only, trade low caps or high conviction meme coins to get those higher returns. Because you're not going to make a lot of money if you're trading with $100 and like just buying Bitcoin and holding, or buying Ethereum or Solana and holding. Like maybe you may make a 2x, But in the grand scheme of things, that's nothing versus how much you could actually make if you're using leverage or starting with low caps. But if you have higher capital, like I'm talking about, 50,000, 100,000 or more, then even 10,000, then yeah, you can make trades that are, 50% trades and still make a lot of money, or 20% trades, even 10% trades, right? Like that's when you don't need to make as much. But when you have low capital, like $100 or less, then you need to make those leverage trades, those meme coin trades, things that are going to have those exponential returns. Okay, let's see. We just got a couple minutes left, guys. I'm going to have to shut down the stream. I'll just give a quick recap of some questions. Would you recommend trading meme coins? They're pretty risky. So I'd stick to utility plays, honestly. And then only if you have some high conviction memes. But yeah, I stick to utility plays right now. What's the quickest and safest 2x on meme coins? Couldn't give you that. A lot of memes have been bleeding. Bill L says, what's going on with Jelly Jelly again? Honestly, I haven't kept up with that. I think a lot of the founders rugged it, but I need to double check. Let's see. Lucas, anything unusual? No updates on that. Strategic Baklava Reserve says, can we see Bitcoin range to the lows to sweep liquidity after the smaller reversal? We could. Yeah, we very well could. Like I said, 2020, the seasonality, we could be emulating that, where we have a red March and then a green April and May. Very possible. So we see Bitcoin, go to 85K, reverse back down and bleed to these 78K lows or even lower, even to the 73K level, which was a previous all-time high. So like way back over here, right? So that's still a possibility people are waiting for, but I think people keep waiting for lower and the market may just leave them behind, honestly. Like that would be the max pain because everyone keeps waiting for lower. Let's see. Can't really look at any charts right now. Just going to spitfire these questions, unfortunately. Let's see. Hyper says ETH is about to break 1950. Great to see. We can go ahead and keep an eye on that. Yep. Okay, so ETH is looking good. Let's see. Hristo says, what's your opinion? Let's see. Wait. Estif says, forward the trading site BloFin link. Yeah, I'll forward the link for you guys if you want to see. Actually, look at the pinned message because you should have signed in for BloFin on whatchamacallit. Here, I'll just forward what I'm looking at now. You should have signed up for BloFin with the Gem Hunters link. So if you haven't, make sure you use that. If one of the mods, everyone should sign up under BloFin, but here's the trading link. Like, let me do Bitcoins actually. There you go. There's the Bitcoin futures trading link. Let's see every rest of the questions. My thoughts on AKT. So Akash Network, Caristo. I was bullish on it last year. Now, not as much. There's so many competitors right now in the deep in space, and so that's why I'm a little hesitant on supporting AKT. There's so many lower cap coins that have a lot more potential. Andex says, what about a trading course with you and CC? It will be great. Hey, that could be something we do down the line. I know that we will be doing some type of trading academy in the Gem Hunters premium group. So if you guys haven't joined that, make sure you join that. It's going to be really good. I'm going to be giving a lot of courses in there, guys. So make sure you join that. That should be good. But yeah, these streams are also another way to help increase your knowledge of TA. Harsh says, how do you do analysis when entering a trade? So for analysis, I just do a lot like fundamental top-down approach. What's going on in the market? Is it bullish or bearish? How's monetary policy looking? How's forecast looking? Is there any wars going on? What's the sentiment, right? On CoinGlass, look at Fear and Greed Index. And then also, where are we at TA-wise? Are we oversold? Are we overbought? Are we at resistance levels? Are we at support levels on the weekly or daily? And then basically, is there any catalyst upcoming to look forward to that people are front-running, right? Like a strategic Bitcoin reserve, people are front-running that. So we saw a rise in the market. So all that analysis, I know it's a lot of stuff, but it's just like kind of what I look at when determining where we're at in the market. Are we exhausted? Have we consolidated for so long? When a breakout is near, all that stuff. So it's just kind of a real comprehensive analysis. Dexter says, please give us sniper shot strategy. Yeah, that'd be nice. Ryan says, where are the recording kept? They should be in the Gem Hunters group. They should be posted here. Yes, Longwick. I'm hoping that Hyperliquid guy gets liquidated. Remember, his liquidation is at 85.5K now. let's hope we can reach that soon. Let's actually go back to Bitcoin. Yeah, let's hope we get that 85.5K liquidation. Let's see. M says, what can $1,000 be run up to in a year realistically? Leverage day trading. Realistically, for $1,000, I mean, in a year, 10,000. I'll take it 10x that with leverage if you're safely executing it in a year. So 10x, it'd be a safe bet. Let's see. And depending how aggressive you are, you could run it up higher. But again, it's all about managing risk at the end of the day. Work hard says top 3 AI projects. I need to research a little bit more, honestly. I mean, Tau is probably up there. Let's see, Tau, maybe Render. And then let's see, Tau, Render, and I need to look at another one, honestly. I need to think about that. I don't want to give too quick of an answer. Yeah, Cheryl for the BloFin link. Thank you, Cheryl. Let's see. D says, what mindset do you have that keeps you going? Honestly, you need to think of your why at the end of the day, right? Why you're trading. So are you trading to retire your family? Are you trading to, make it out of a bad situation? Are you trading to support your loved ones, right? It's all about your why at the end of the day. So that's what keeps me going, honestly. It's just, helping support my family, myself, and just making a better life for myself. Because at the end of the day, like, we all have more inside of us. We all aren't maximizing our full potential. That's why what keeps me driving is because we have so much more potential to give, and people are just wasting it in the day-to-day world, the 9 to 5, right? And so if you can have that motivation of, hey, what's possible? Like looking at Luke, like looking at a lot of people online who have made it, and what's different from them than you? It's just the consistency in their drive. And the moment you be consistent, you set a plan for yourself, you create your why, you develop your why and what's going to keep you going at that point, then really any obstacles are just that. They're speed bumps in the road, and then you can just keep going after that, right? So set goals for yourself, set a structured plan, be consistent, and set a target of where you want to aim. Because if you set a target for the stars, you may not reach it, but you'll hit the moon along the way, right? And so you have to set realistic targets and then baby steps, and eventually you will see yourself succeed. But again, it's just putting in that work day in and day out, removing the distractions, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff. Like, get it out. It's not helping you. Get your sleep, get your diet right, work out, get your health right, so that you can actually perform these tasks, successfully, and you can actually earn that income that you're striving for. So it's just developing your why is just the biggest thing. Money, where do you buy Nillion? It's not out yet. And let's see. And then Dexter, give us some new projects like airdrops. Airdrops, there's a few others. I know that DeFi.app is another one that should be giving an airdrop. So if you check that, farm that, it should be pretty good. And then Finn, last question. How do I join the paid group and how much is it? So you can join the paid group. We should have a link pinned. One of the mods, if you guys can link that as well for Finn for the paid Gem Hunters group, but it should be in the pin message. The first pin message in the Gem Hunters group, you should see how to join. You go to the website, gemhunters.co, and you should be able to join through there. So highly recommend the paid group, guys. Paid group is awesome. And we have a lot of extra content in there. We have daily leverage calls. We have daily market updates. We have daily live streams and daily gem reports, up to date, like everything. So it's very well worth it, in my opinion. And yeah, if you guys have any other questions, go ahead and ask the mods, and then you can do that. So again, and then AG, I do not have a video explaining how to do my analysis. But again, like in the Gem Hunters Premium, we should be doing some type of trading academy. We'll go over all of that analysis as well. So with that, guys, I do need to head out. I hope you guys enjoyed this live stream. Again, thank you guys so much for listening. And this recording will be posted very soon. And so you guys can watch it. And if you have any questions or you joined it late, you can catch up on that. But again, thanks, guys. Good to see the market recovering. Hope you guys are enjoying the profits. And until next time, I'll talk to you guys later.